is the Two Guys Garage Podcast. He is Kevin Bird. I am Willie B. And fired up today, man. We're talking more SEMA action. Really cool cats in today's podcast, man. And this is one of those things, man, especially when you kind of wrap it around SEMA. What a cool event. What a wild scenario that is, man. And a lot of people talk about SEMA, and a lot of people talk about, kind of the follow-up show, the PRI show, Performance Racing Industry. So, if you're into the automotive thing, man, you got a couple home runs that head your way, early part or late part of the fall, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, SEMA is just bigger than you can even imagine. You see, a lot of non-industry folks that have never been there. You see all the pictures and the cars and the builds, but it is so massive. It's hard to even wrap your brain around. I mean, if you've ever been to one of these big convention centers, like a big one in a big city like Chicago or whatever, right? Just take that and multiply it by another one and another one and another, and then across the street, and they're all connected, and then all the hallways and the parking lots, there's people doing drifting, there's displays. It is unbelievable. It's 4 days, and you feel like you could walk the floor up and down the aisles the entire time and probably see half of it.
Yeah, man. And half the people, it's wild because we're pretty used to, in our own respective cities, a convention center, whatever your convention center is, a convention center type size show, whatever that may be in your hometown. Now take that and add, another convention center, and then another one, and then another one. Like, it's got north, south, all these halls, west halls,
across the
hall,
street
south
hall,
central hall. Yeah, it's crazy, and everything in between is just filled to the gills with cool cars and wild things to see, watch, and witness. It's a blast, man. And for us, it's a lot about, cool partnerships, seeing some cool, not just builds, but talking to the industry people, which is always kind of cool, man. And we're going to get into some industry people you probably have heard of here in just a minute, but also seeing who's leading the charge in some builds. We talked Ring Brothers last time we spoke SEMA and what cool builds they had, but there are a lot of people bringing a lot of flavors to the SEMA floor.
Absolutely. So it's the people you run into, whether it's the industry types that you talked about, or, the celebrities, they're all there, right? All the car builders and stuff that you see on TV, they're all floating around. It's kind of neat, elbowing with those guys, right? The builds themselves, the parts, the pieces, the companies. Man, it's like going to a carnival as a kid, just blinking lights everywhere, or going into the casino, like everything's trying to grab your attention. You don't know where to look. What ride am I going to hit first? Like, should I get some popcorn? It's crazy. It's like a mind melt, and you just can't get enough of it. It's probably a good thing that they actually shut it down at the end of the 4 days, because you'd probably still want to be there just dragging your ass down the carpet, like tired as heck, walking like 50 miles, but it's cool.
At the end of the 4 days, though, they do something cool. All these hot rods and builds, they just roll out of SEMA and they hit the strip. A lot of them, it's wild to see, 1,000 hot rods just take over the strip in Vegas. It's cool, man. It's you have a parade out of the building. People are always like, yeah, clapping, do a burnout. Wow.
Well, what's even bigger than that
cool.
is we've seen hot rod cruises and stuff, but these are SEMA builds. Everything from a couple $100,000 to million plus builds. These are the ones that are like, you think of being on a showcase only, and here they are outside of the convention center, rolling down the street, going to a huge parking lot for all the people that can't get in to come see, right? So it's taking SEMA from inside and taking it outdoors for the general public, and that part is really cool.
Right, man. And I love the egos you have rolling out. Like, oh, yeah? Y'all want to see a burnout? Or this car is cooler than that car. Let me just show you how. It's wild, man. It's a cool time. It's something that really, if you're a car enthusiast, you got to see. A few things on that checklist, Obviously, up in your neck of the woods, the Woodward Cruise is a must-see. It's a must thing to plug into. And, if you ever get a chance, opportunity, SEMA, now they open it to the general public on Fridays, so the general public can come in, watch that parade out to that big, massive parking lot car show that follows up. So it's just a really cool kind of, way to finish up the week. And for a lot of people, a lot of builds, a lot of the people that are just all about SEMA and the industry as a whole, they love that sort of crescendo to the week. It's definitely a flex and something cool to see those cars take over the strip.
Yeah, well, we got to see so many things and so many people. And I know you got to run into the one, the only Clay Millican, drag racer extraordinaire. I mean, this guy's like 6-time world champion. And you got to sit down and kind of interview him. I thought that was super cool. So maybe we switch gears a little bit.
I know Clay for a long time, man, and we've had some great memories in the past and great partnership in the past. So it's always cool catching up with him. But I rounded a corner and I saw this and I was like, wait, there's a factory like stock looking 2007 GTO?
Yeah.
No, man, never. I'm like, hey, that car looks like it did it exactly from the factory, you know? And normally you don't see that on a 2007 GTO, but it is a cool hot rod. I'm not taking anything away from that. But to see one yellow and then to see a sign above it down one of these aisles, and I said, CRC, we know that product well. Everybody knows that product well.
We use that. We use it at home. We use it in the two guys shop. I mean, they have everything you need.
And you see my Speed hoodie right here. So back in the day when I did Pinks All Out, me and my boy Clay Millican, who was in the booth for CRC, man,
6-time world champion, funny car, nitro methane, 12,000 plus horsepower. This guy's been around forever, just going faster than an astronaut, you know, going to the moon.
Yeah, man. And this guy is so Tennessee. He's so Tennessee, and he's so humble about it. He's like, all right, Willie, how you been, man? How the family? I've been, just been going fast on these hot rods, man. Turn it up, wick it up, just hammer it down. He kind of sounds like that. Willie, he put together something unbelievable. The story about this car, the story about how they acquired it, the story of how this car came to be, who he's building it with, and it's for CRC, who, CRC, for those that know, we ran into Raquel Wenger. She's the marketing director there. And she's just a blast. She's full bore into getting people excited about the trades. And wait till you see this car. Like, this was a really cool combo. And again, something you never see at SEMA. Like, to be able to turn a corner and have a chance to find out info where you could win this car. You could actually go sign up and win this thing. It's amazing.
No, this is really cool. I think you guys are going to like it. It feels good in the heart. It's cool to catch up with Clay Millican, see the build. Like you said, there's a lot of cool twists to the story. So why don't you guys check it out here for a few minutes, and we'll catch you on the backside of it.
All right, man, welcome to it. Little side action at SEMA 2023, man. Cool cars, crazy builds. Yeah, I love coming to the SEMA show because you kind of get a curve ahead of the bell curve, if you will, as to what the trends are, what's going on in the automotive industry, and some of the crazy cool builds. But more importantly, some of the crazy cool reasons that builds exist, and this is a great one. So we have my man Clay Millican. Clay and I go back long time. I've known this guy forever, man. Great guy. You know him probably as an NHRA top fuel, driver, and he just kills it. And then we got Raquel, who's, I got to tell you, man, CRC, you guys know these products. Anybody in the automotive industry has used these products. But you guys have some new stuff this year out of SEMA. So tell us a little bit about some of the new stuff, and we'll get to what Clay and you guys have really partnered up with. Something really cool I think you guys are going to dig. So new products, what do you got?
Okay, well, our newest, this actually isn't a new product. It's called CRC Evapo Rust.
Yeah.
And it's basically a bath for removing rust. It's non-corrosive, pH neutral.
And this
doesn't
is
harm paint.
Yeah, this is what's really cool, man, because so imagine like you got some rust on some parts that, you don't want to sandblast, you don't want to degrade a part anyway or get it down and hurt the, the outside of it, the paint, the stickers, things like that, right? But you want to remove the rust. So this is just a dip, right? You drop your part in, comes in different sizes, you can get big bucket, small, but you've got little brackets, little parts, things like that, easy to do, and you don't have the mess of sandblasting or media blasting.
Absolutely.
All right.
And so you just leave it in for a couple hours. If it's a little rust, if there's a lot, you might leave it overnight. But the new thing that we're introducing now is a self-contained canister, where you don't have to pour the product into another container.
You have to ruin your Tupperware bowls in the kitchen. Yeah. Which
you can just,
I do.
Yeah, and you can just store it, put some nuts and bolts in. It's a smaller 1-quart size.
Yeah.
But it's great to have on your shop shelf for rusty pieces.
Well, it makes sense.
Use it over and over again.
Yeah, something you reuse, right? And the best part is, like you don't have to worry about all the media blasting, and you don't hurt the exterior, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's got stickers or paint or stuff like that. It just gets rid of the rust. So how about that? You don't have to worry about rust. You just dip it in, walk away, and go watch a movie or something. Pretty cool there. What about some other stuff? Because let's be honest, technology has changed everything, right? Technology, you know, especially in engines, what they're, you know, those circuits tell, okay, I need more fuel or less fuel, I need more air, time is off a little bit. Well, all this technology incorporated in engines leads to some advancement in y'all's products too, like the GDI stuff. Direct injection, we all know how carbon deposits get on that. What do you have for that?
Okay, well, we are offering a GDI service kit that has 4 products inside: an intake valve cleaner, mass airflow sensor cleaner, throttle body cleaner, and our 1-tank power renew, which is a fuel cleaner. So with the combination of these 4 products, we do sell them individually, but all together it's kind of like a powerhouse of cleaning that really cleans the whole system out and cleans up the carbon deposits by about 68%.
Ooh, that's a bonus.
Let's face it, you know, the fuel that we get these days is just inherent. It brings kind of the carbon buildup that, you know.
Especially in direct injection, man.
Yes, exactly.
You know, when it's, you know, injected there, what happens, the coking goes up, gets on the valve, and if you're not cleaning that off, man, you know, anybody with GDI system, they have headaches. You always check engine light, what is that, you know? You got to keep it clean. So as far as products go, is those are your 2 main ones? You got anything else,
we got
obviously?
another one.
All right, what do you got?
Pretty cool. It's the CRC Smart Washer.
Oh, we use that in the shop all the time. Yeah.
Glad you like it.
Yeah.
It does a great job of cleaning parts, but the really special thing about it is that it's environmentally friendly. It's legal to use in all 50 states, even on the West Coast where the rules are a little stricter. But it does the job, but it does it not through harmful solvents and all that nasty stuff that you can't even touch, and you have to wear gloves and special equipment. This is called bioremediating, where basically it's live microbes that eat away the grime and the dirt, and then digest it and turn it into water and carbon dioxide.
Sweet. There you go, man. Definitely need one of those. We use it all the time in and around our shop. So big time help. It heats the stuff up too, so that's going to give you more cleaning power. Now I got to ask this guy. How did you get this guy in your booth, and what are you doing with clay? Because this is what's really cool. You know, building cars, something that if you're watching this podcast or you're into this, we all love, we all have a passion for, right? But if you're building something for a cause that can inspire other people, then you tap into something really, really cool. So Clay, explain a little bit about what you got here.
So I can stretch this out into a really long story. If y'all know anything about me, I love talking about cars. So I have had over a decade-long relationship with CRC with the top fuel car.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, top fuel car, we may pour nitro in the tank, but it runs on CRC brake clean, because every time you stomp on that loud pedal, you got to do an engine rebuild, which requires a lot of cleaning. We run 70 weight oil, so we need the best, hands down the best brake clean in the business, and it's CRC. That's not a commercial, that's a fact.
No, it's true.
Take it
like if you don't know that, you just halfway to stupid.
Yeah, because trust me, I've used a lot of brake cleaner in my life, and I've been fortunate enough to work with these guys for a long time. So I'm gonna fast forward in the story a little bit to year before last. I was here at the SEMA Show, hanging out with my buddies from CRC, and they were asking me about a truck that I have. And a lot of you may or may not know, but I lost a son in 2015, and Jeff Lutz and I were basically turning Dalton's truck that he loved into like this epic, crazy truck. It got out of control, to be honest with you.
As sometimes builds do.
Sometimes it does, especially when you get Jeff Lutz involved.
Yeah.
And so while hanging out with my buddies, they're like, we want the truck at the SEMA Show. And I'm like, we've been working on this truck for over 4 years. I mean, it's a long-term truck project in this case. And basically they accelerated that program and we finished the truck and had it here last year. You know, very important, passionate thing to me.
Yeah, close to your heart.
Yes, and then it kind of grew, you know, the Lutz family, highly involved, CRC, basically pushed us. Like we want it, we want to get it done. And so it was a very passionate thing for us personally. And then the moment we rolled into the SEMA Show last year, Raquel, Julie, and Lou. That's 3 of the people that we worked with on the truck is named Dentley.
Okay.
So they said this Dentley project was one of the funnest things we've ever done. We want to do it again. And so me and Jeff looked at each other and was like, well, what are we going to do? And they said, it's up to you, because we want, the emotions and passions you showed towards building Dentley to whatever it is. And if we tell you what to build, you may not have that. So it was up to me and Jeff to decide what we wanted to do. And so we kind of kicked it around a little bit. And we really didn't have a complete dead set idea until I come across the car on Facebook Marketplace. And yes.
Wait, that car on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace.
Shut up.
Yeah. So I live near Memphis. So naturally,
a 1,300 mile GTO, y'all, on Marketplace.
On Marketplace.
On Marketplace.
Yeah.
On Marketplace.
I didn't think it was real. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not real. But we had kind of found this car, and I thought, man, a GTO would be pretty cool, because everybody knows Jeff Lutz races a GTO on No Prep Kings, Street Outlaws No Prep Kings, and we thought that would be pretty cool. But back to finding it on a marketplace, we wanted to buy a car in the South, because we don't have rust on our cars in the Tennessee area, and this kept popping up. I'm like, there's no way this is real. 1,350 miles is what the ad said.
On a 2006.
17-year-old car.
Woo!
And I finally gave in and sent a message, and long story short, I went and looked at it. It was at a We Tote the Note lot in maybe not the nicest area of town.
Wow. Crazy.
And it turns out this car come out of an estate sale.
Like a buy here, pay here type deal,
yes,
right?
100%.
Rolls up on a GTO, a 2006 with 1,350 miles.
Yeah.
A 17-year-old car with I mean that's driving around your driveway. I mean, pretty long driveway, but still 1,300 miles, 17 years, man.
17 years.
That's crazy.
And here's the more crazy part. Sitting right beside the car that is just on the other side of that camera right there was another one just like it. So as it turns out, the man who was into Pontiacs, he bought 2 at a time. So the Pontiac that we have with CRC is a manual shift car.
Yeah.
The car that was sitting beside it at this We Tote the Note lot was an automatic. This man bought his and hers, manual automatic. Wow. And so we elected to go with this 2006 manual shift, 1,350 mile car.
Wow, such a low mileage car for 17 years old. Just taking that car alone, sticking it in a corner, right, would be a hell of an investment for anybody, right?
100%.
I mean, that's unheard of, 1,300 miles.
Yeah.
That's insane. So you found, did you buy both of them?
No. I mean, I might as well just be honest. We're friends, right?
Yeah.
We're friends. It was way out of our budget, of what we needed to spend to start a SEMA build.
Sure.
And so we all discussed it. I mean, when I say we, me, Jeff, Raquel, Lou, I mean, it was like, this is an expensive car.
Yeah.
But
it's a brand new car.
It's a brand new car.
Right.
A 17-year-old brand new car.
Some of the plastic was still on.
So when you open the door, even right this moment, you open the door where it says Pontiac right there, it still has the plastic over the top of it from brand new.
It smells brand new.
It smells brand new.
Yeah.
It really does.
Gorgeous.
So we discussed it, and we got to get to the point of what the car was built for. And this is why CRC elected, let's buy this car, is this car is going to do some cool things after it leaves here, but it's going to make its way to Mecum auction next year in May, correct?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
In May, where CRC is going to auction this car, and all the proceeds are going to go to 10 scholarships funds for young people working with their hands.
This is so cool. So
Which goes back to the passion side for me and Jeff.
Yeah.
When we found that out, we picked the car kind of off passion to match Jeff's car, and then we knew it was for young people.
well, anytime you have Clay Millican, Jeff Lutz, right? Anytime you have those guys, the car, right? It's got to be some cool hot rod. A GTO fits that, all right?
Yeah.
Low production numbers, real rare. Only made them a couple years, right? And then you guys put a supercharger on it, put some bells and whistles, crazy cool suspension. Like the thing looks nasty, and they kept every single stock piece all tagged, bagged, and locked up. So that goes with the car as well. So they're getting probably a somewhere 550, 600 horsepower, I'd say easily.
At the tire.
At the tire, right? You're getting a nasty little hot rod on the street car version, right? and you have something that is a great investment. So somebody's gonna be able to buy this car, all that money goes back to help with scholarships. You mentioned scholarships. So that's just an amazing way to inspire people to, let's be honest, college for a lot of people, it's a waste of time and money. You know how many people went to college?
Not me.
Right? Business program or whatever. I went 3 years, never finished it, right? Because I was working in the industry that I was going to college for. So I was like, well, college was behind it. But when you inspire people to get into trades, man, that's a way to open up so many doors, whether it's, HVAC, plumbing, electrician, carpenter, framing, obviously diesel and automotive technicians, hot industry to get into, crazy high demand. Ask any mechanic shop, what's the number one problem they have? Getting good work, getting people in there to turn wrenches, right? So there's a big demand for that out there.
There's big money in the trades.
Yeah.
Big money. And you'll never have to worry about hunting a job, ever. I mean, whether it's auto mechanics, wiring houses, like say HVAC, whatever it is, those jobs are out there and it pays good money. And
it does.
Heck, if you've got a little bit of want to, you can just go in business for yourself. And work for yourself, and
I always tell people, look, the dream is free, but the hustle is sold separately. And and this is one of those things. You with the career path of anything in the trade industry, you make your own career path. As much as you want to work, much you want to dive in, you could own your own business. You could start as an apprentice. It's amazing how far you can take that career path. Decades, right? Own your own business, and you're set for life. And obviously, that's what we were talking about. Like, when's the last time you seen a high school with a shop class? Right?
Yeah.
We were talking about that before.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my kids, they never had shop, which shocked me. I had shop. We had to learn metalworking, printing, all that stuff, which exposed me and my classmates to other trades that we never would have known about if we hadn't learned about it in school. Anyway, my kids didn't get that because they don't offer shop in public schools anymore.
And that's such a cool thing because, let's be honest, we're in dire need of skilled tradespeople, whether, pick your profession, but really there's a big demand for them. They can't kick them out of trade schools fast enough and get them into jobs because there's so many people right out of the school, like, hey, come work for us, come work for us. So obviously 10 scholarships, that's a big time help. So tell me a little bit more about that. So you're selling the car, Millican in Indianapolis.
And there's another key element in here is that we're partnered with the Tech Force Foundation, which their whole mission is to let kids know that there's an alternative to college. And it's kind of like a hub where people can join the community and get connected with what schools are out there, and more importantly, the scholarships that are available. So these people, they know what they're doing with awarding scholarships. So we've been, CRC has been supporting them for many years. And so this year now we're having them administer all the scholarships for us.
That's cool. So 10 people are going to get a scholarship courtesy of what you and Jeff have built and created.
Oh, no, it's
obviously, it's CRC, but
and
that's got to
the
be
cool part of those 10 scholarships. And this is kind of cool for me because on our Top Fuel car, everybody always talks about the clutch, the Top Fuel car.
One of the most important things there is on Top Fuel car.
And we have a young lady, tech school herself, that does the clutch on the car. Not only does she do the clutch, she drives the big truck to the races. And of these 10 scholarships that CRC is funding, 3 of them are dedicated to young ladies, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I will be the first to admit Kaylin Simmons is this young lady's name. I was a little nervous about bringing a young lady into a Top Fuel pit area where you've got 8 other guys, and we all know how guys are in the shop. Let me tell you something. I would take 10 more just like her because she just gets in there, gets the work done, and I'm excited that some of this funding is going towards young ladies.
That's
I really,
awesome.
really am.
Well, let's be honest. It's got to be proud for you guys as a team to pull off something like that.
Absolutely, and just all the collaboration and bringing people in, like we brought in Bogey and Emily to help on the build as well. So we wanted to we've actually been documenting the whole build on crcbuildforthefuture.com, where you can see it from when Clay found the car. We wanted to demonstrate how rewarding and fun it can be to work on the cars and working together. This is what we want with the trades and with the kids getting involved and that sort of thing.
it's got to be wild to be growing up right now and try to figure out, navigate all the nonsense and what do you want to do? I want to be an influencer. I want to do this on social media, or I want to do something like this. When it comes to trades, what's great about that is that instant, you call it gratification, or being able to build something with your hands, know you got all this time and effort and energy into it. Man, when you can sit back and stand back 100 feet, 1,000 feet and see something you created like this, you know, drive down the road or perform or rip the tires off and you're like, yeah, we did that, you know?
Yeah,
most people can't sit back and look at what they created and built and, you know, think of something like that. Like, yeah, we did this hands-on from the ground up. And it's such a cool feeling of you know, just self-worth maybe.
Sense of
It's just like, man, big sense of accomplishment and what you're able to do and to get other people inspired and motivated to do that, and especially get them in trades. Look, you don't have to do that 4-year college deal. Just know there's a path out there for you, and trades really something that a lot of people need to look into, because you never know, man, what you might find that fuels your passion, and boom, you're off to the races. Literally to the races.
Exactly.
All right, Clay, Raquel, great team, great effort, great showing. I mean, look at the people around it. It's obviously it's worked well, man. Congratulations
it's
on
eye
all
candy,
of it.
to be sure.
Yeah, keep on doing what you guys are doing, man.
All
Great
right.
to see you.
Great
I
seeing you
appreciate you.
too.
Thank you
All right,
so much.
you guys take care, man.
Thank
All right,
you.
Willie B live from SEMA, man. See you guys in a few.
All right, and there you have it, Kevin. How cool is that, man? To find a pair of like new GTOs. They only got one of them, but I know Clay good enough that he was contemplating going back and getting that other one. But man, a pair of GTOs turned up a little bit, wicked up a little bit, still emissions legal and ready to rock. That's a collector's item, man. That's a legit car.
Yeah, that was a sleeper way back when. Like, everybody who knew the car, right, knows that it's basically like an Australian Camaro, you know, but they were just smooth lines. They didn't quite stand out, but man, you throw a blower under the hood, you know, you get some sticky tires on it, you get the good brake package, and man, you got yourself, like I said, a little screamer, but in a sleeper package. And they didn't make them long, you know?
2 years, dude. I think the GTOs and those Chevy SSs are a couple cars that really, down the road, people want to get a good investment because they can still find them fairly affordable. That's going to be a big money car if you're looking to stick something in your garage that's going to grow in wealth. I think that's a couple home runs right there.
Absolutely, because they're full-on capable. They're legit hot rods, and they didn't pop at the beginning. And if they made millions and millions of them, you might not really care, but they only made a certain amount, and that makes them rare and interesting and unique. And yeah, that's going to be a great, pickup for somebody.
Yeah, man. And other rare cars that we saw at SEMA. All right, think about what the rarest cars, rarest rides you saw out there. Think about the ones that you didn't expect to see. Like, there's one that sticks out in my mind I completely didn't expect to see. A couple mergers of technology. SEMA is a must-go-to show. And believe it or not, hey, if you're just out there thinking, man, I'd never go to SEMA, they've opened it up to the general public on Fridays. So there's an excuse to book a trip to Vegas next year for SEMA. It's
and if you think
wild.
that's not enough reason to go to Vegas, there's a lot of other stuff in Vegas to go to see, as well. So bundle it all up and go have some fun.
How crazy was the Spear when you first saw it?
Oh, wow. Yeah. And my sister-in-law and her boyfriend went to the U2 opening twice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I almost went on that Thursday or Friday. I just couldn't pull it off. They went again, so I got to see all their videos and pictures from the inside of that Sphere. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is amazing, man. Crazy technology coming to a city near you, but right now it's in Vegas. Another reason to go there and check it out. So I got to ask, man, when you're walking around SEMA, did you notice any trends, or what were things that stuck out in your mind? Because I noticed one or two trends. One interesting is I think what we saw a few years ago was a foreshadowing of what's occurring now that I want to talk to you about. But for you and your engineering eyes, what did you see as a trend in SEMA versus a specific car?
So one of the big trends, and we've seen onesie twosies in the past, is a lot of car built with carbon fiber. Right? A carbon fiber this or a carbon fiber that. And, what I saw is that that's starting to become more of a trend. Like, I think you're going to see at the SEMA level and at the high dollar level carbon fiber cars. So, for example, is it Finale Speed? Chris Jacobs from Overhauling and everything else. He's kind of teamed up with those guys, and they are developing or they're selling custom built, first gen Camaros and Chargers, all in carbon fiber. They had one there, like paint wise, where literally you could see the whole car essentially like in clear, and you could see the carbon fiber, and then the racing stripes. Yeah, the racing stripes, like orangish. You could see like almost a candy see-through color and the carbon fiber under it. And I'm telling you, the work was impressive. And they're going to just spit these things out with real titles built from real cars, but carbon fiber cars, not a door, not a hood, not a deck lid, the whole dang thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. For me, man, that's a door ding that's just too costly to fix. I can't imagine if you bumped somebody in with that thing. Like, how are you gonna fix that? Because once it's cracked and fractured, forget about it.
Yeah,
Once could be interesting.
Yeah, maybe a door, you replace the whole door, but I mean, then you gotta just blocking and aligning. But man, what happens when you get hit in the quarter panel? Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Well, when you paint a car, and you can fill all that stuff in, right? You can stitch glass, you can build up behind it, but trying to get that perfect carbon fiber look after it's been smashed on a unibody, that's got to be tricky. Because there was another one too, Z-Rods. Did you see that C10?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a badass. You think C10 pickup truck. This thing was full race car. C10 race car. Custom chassis, but all carbon fiber body, lots of carbon fiber details, but then
unreal.
tube roll cage and features and
the
suspension.
The power to rate ratio on these things now with the carbon fiber bodies becomes so unbelievable, man. They become that import ratio or supercar ratio or just a super light muscle car or pickup for that matter. And you put all the performance and chassis and, big horsepower, torque numbers underneath it. All of a sudden, man, you got a real viable race car, track car, whatever you want to do in an outfit that looks such sleeper status. It looks so docile. And, who would have guessed a C10? You think they're kind of heavy, not necessarily the best suspension.
Who thinks race car?
Who thinks
on a C10?
Race car?
Yeah.
That's
if you think
way
about
cool.
most race cars, they're fully caged. And by the time you have a fully caged car and structure underneath, right, you don't need any other structure and all that steel, right? Any kind of unibody or front and rear subframe type of car, there's all that steel in there trying to give you that required safety and stiffness. So turn that into a thin carbon fiber layer and you got yourself a rocket.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a cool trend. For people that can afford that, that's big, man. And
that won't be my trend. But I'll enjoy looking at it, checking them out on the tracks, ripping it up. Impressive.
You know what I noticed that was kind of, I think, a follow-up on what we noticed a few years ago. Remember a few years ago, man, you brought your BMW, and it really was, I think, at the beginning of that wide-body phase. When I saw your BMW there, which was several years ago. And if you recall, for years after we saw your BMW, we saw how big that wide body trend was exploding, but we saw people that were really taking just crude ways of fastening fender flares or wheel flares and we saw sheet metal screws just in, wheel flares and fender flares in some SEMA shows, and we were like, nobody sees this. But I think now the wide body thing has probably calmed a little bit, or at least the interpretation of how it's incorporated into the build.
The
they
easy
look
way,
a lot
the
more
bolt-on
flowing.
fender flare.
Yeah, the bolt-on stuff and that strapping a fender flare on to get a wide body look is dead. I think incorporating it into the structure, into the flow and the fluidity of your car and design, I think that's where the wide bodies have gone, and you see that in a lot of applications. So no longer are they just bolting on fender flares to get that wide body look. It's incorporated in the ebb and flow and the tapestry of the car they're creating.
Still a lot of bolt-on glass and other options, but they've, like you said, they fit the design, the shape. They've got more design time and character into them. And it makes sense. Like when I brought mine, it was all hand formed steel, fenders and quarters, and there's hundreds of hours shaping and building, and it's tough. But again, with the fad growing, all of a sudden you had, I call it semi-generic fender flares, that you could modify, or companies would shape them to fit on different vehicles, but they all looked very similar, and they all kind of screwed on, clamped on, bonded on, and just like you said, but the progression would be, hey, I can do the same process, and mine's going to look better than yours, and mine's going to look better than theirs. And so, man, you're seeing a progression of competition to see, ease of install, which again, we've talked about, makes pretty anemic cars with some flares, some tire size, and a motor swap or boosted, right, could really turn a something pretty lame into something pretty wicked fast.
And that parlays into the next question is, what did you see as your standout build? Obviously, a lot of cool Mustangs, a lot of cool, cool cars in every shape, form, and fashion, and every era and so forth. But what did you see that was wild for you? And what did you see as far as technology is incorporated in cars? Because there's a couple standouts for me too.
Yeah, I always struggle because I see a really amazing build, and I'm like, boom, that's it. And then I walk like 30 feet over this direction, and I'm like, oh my God, look at this one. And then it just, by the end, you're like, they all get lost in amazingness. But there was a couple competitions.
You get some immunity built up for, classic badass 69 Camaros, right? Or what you see more than one of. There's some insulation in the fact that everywhere you turn, there's a badass cool car that you've only dreamt about having. Sure, it does make it tough, but any wild ones, wows, that really kind of caught your eyes and attention?
Well, two on either end of the spectrum that were just great to look at and absorb was the C10 carbon fiber the C10 carbon fiber one. Just how it's built, turned into a race car. So that's one end of, let's say, a high-end build, right? A lot of hours, a lot of precision. And then you go on the other end, and there was several like both, but the other end would be like Andy Leach, used to work for Troy Chapanier at Rad Rides. Years and years ago, man, he has been killing it in the whole like Autorama circuit and winning awards. And he had a Grand Cherokee, I think it was, an older one. And these guys, when they have enough budget, they're making the trim pieces like we talked about with the Ring Brothers, just out of billet, and like just so many things in the gauges, and every piece is made, but it doesn't look like a billet part you buy from, the off-the-shelf aftermarket company X or Y. It's all just super graceful, like from the factory, but finished as if it came from like a Rolls Royce. So there was two ends of the spectrum for me, like the stripped down race car, all like high-tech materials, and then the endless fabrication details, beautification of enhancing some cool old retro-y ride,
Yeah. I got one that specifically stuck out. So you probably, if you were following up SEMA, you probably have seen the Mercure. For some reason, that was a hot car. A lot of photos, a lot of people on that car. But right up from that, there was a combination of an AMG Mercedes and a BMW. And man, I thought that thing was unbelievable. It had the badass, like, supercharged AMG engine, but the car was molded and welded into a BMW. Or I may have that vice versa. I may have that flipped. But it was an ungodly, it looked like a, open wheel racer because it had some tire exposed to it, but it had the Mercedes front end, but it was a BMW. It was just a wild car, and one that I thought was just, wow, what a cool marrying of technology in that build. And it's all over photos of SEMA as well. You'll see it if you go looking.
Yeah, it's amazing, all the different ideas and creativity. Sometimes you think you've seen it all, and nope. You turn the corner, and there's a completely different, discombobulated, put together, reshaped, rethought combination after all these years of cutting and rewelding and re-swapping and you name it. There's just more ideas out there. It's just fantastic.
Man, no doubt. And speaking of seeing it all, you can see it all on our show, which airs weekends on Motor Trend TV and also on Motor Trend Plus, which is their streaming format. Make sure you check it out there. And as far as guest goes, well, it was just us and our imaginary friends today, so I hope you enjoyed a little catching up on SEMA and the cool things that we saw, watched, and witnessed there. Thanks to our producer, Scoop, executive producer, Bob Ecker. He is Kevin Bird, and I'm Willie B for the Two Guys Garage podcast.
And don't forget, we got a website, twoguysgarage.com. Share your thoughts with us. We're on social everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, at Two Guys Garage. Now, this Two Guys Garage podcast is copyrighted 2024, Brenton Productions Incorporated, all rights reserved.
All right, funny follow-up question. Would you ever build another car for SEMA? Yes or no? Just yes or no. Would you ever build another car for SEMA?
You fantasize and you love it because you love building things. You love really putting your all into it. But the bar just keeps moving. The budgets keep moving. Like, I was talking to one builder who built a really amazing machine. He said his budget was $1.2 million. And then he's looking at his competition and said, man, I just don't have enough budget to compete with these guys. And I'm like, you know,
ask me.
All right, would you ever go back and build another car?
No, not a chance. No way.
It is
Bucket
brutal.
list,
I mean,
check.
when you have a customer and they're paying you all these hours, sure, the more the merrier, you know, and you got all your buddies can split it up. But man, doing an entire build by yourself in your garage, right at that level, is tough. That's a reach. Yeah, man.
All right, man. You guys take care. We appreciate your time, and we'll catch you on the next Two Guys Garage podcast.
Take care, guys.